Everyone. So this is a think tank, and if you haven't been on a think tank before, it is a little bit different to maybe some typical panel style online, I guess, training sessions you'd go to. So the first thing I'd say that this is not necessarily a training session, and it's also not a product flog where someone is trying to secretly sell you something and trap you into the next course or something like that. So I just want to reassure you that this is not one of those. This is a think tank. So this is an opportunity for us to come together and share our own thoughts and experiences, ask each other questions, and really, find out what else is going on out there in the big world and see whether we can add value to each other's businesses. Now, of course, there is a format to today. So I do want to make sure that that things are a little bit organized, and we are going to reach a particular point where there's going to be great discussion. So just a quick look at the agenda. So, the times are wrong. I've put up the wrong. This is one from the last session. Sorry, guys, you're just going to have to bear with me. So there's going to be a welcome. We're just going to quickly run through some of the rules and introduce a few people. There is a brief presentation that I'm going to take you through just to set context to the topic that we're talking about today. We're going to look at a few case studies of some people within our industry who I believe are doing well or have best practice around creating communities through social media. And then we're going to facilitate a think tank where there's an opportunity to ask questions and to bring forth ideas as well. Now, we do have a number of experts in the room as well, which I think is great. And we will leverage off their knowledge as well as we go. And then there'll be a close, of course. So just some rules. If I can ask you to leave your cameras on where possible, and I know many of us are working from home, and as am I, so if you hear my dog snoring in the background, I do apologize. If a child suddenly runs through the camera, it is what it is. But where possible, it's great to be able to see your faces and interact. To encourage you to participate. If you've got a burning question, don't leave without asking it. Or if you've got something strikes you as interesting or reminds you of something that you're currently doing or you used to do that got results, we want to hear about it. Just ask you to respect all contributors. There's people from right across the industry, from many different brands in the room, as well as some externals as well from our industry. And we just want to respect everybody who participates today. And I ask that we all embrace accepting our shortcomings and our challenges. None of us here have it all together. We're all learning. And none of us have to pretend we have the answers. I know I definitely don't. And I'm going with the I guess the attitude that I'm here to learn from everybody else. And then if you could just obviously listen and follow instructions where I can, just so we can keep things at a good pace and make sure everybody gets involved. So first of all, I just want to quickly introduce myself. So my name's Andrew Stevens. I'm currently the National Business Manager for Nectar Broker Brands. Broker Brands is, we are a mortgage broker that grows other mortgage brokers. So there's a number of our team in here. When I say team, talking about brokers who operate with us. And but that just doesn't mean that this is for them. It's just I'm a big believer in sharing and collaborating with as many people as I can, so that we all grow. But so that's my role. My background is 15 plus years in financial services, working in retail bank, strategy and operations in banking, and then working in third party for brands like Aussie Home Loans, Yellow Brick Road, Lendy, Plan Australia, and of course Nectar. But also in a previous life, I did run, and I have from time to time still done some consultancy work, my own business coaching business as well, mostly specializing in not-for-profits and startups. However, if any of you have ever worked in any of those industries, you would recognize that not-for-profits and startups don't make much money. So there's not a lot of money in that. Hence the reason why, you know, I do what I do now and still do a lot of love jobs on the side. So look, that's just a little bit about my experience. So I have a broad experience working with self-employed people, have been self-employed myself, and look forward to, I guess, leveraging off some of the experience I've had today as well in, you know, helping facilitate this discussion. Also, just wanted to introduce just a couple of other people that's in the room that are kind of related to our industry, but may not be in our industry. I just wanted to call out, sorry, Bud, first of all, from AutoMates. Now Bud is kind of like our cousin in that he's still in finance somewhat, but also looks after leasing of cars and financing of cars as well, and helping you find the right car for you. Bud is someone who I've connected with for a long time. I use him personally for my own vehicles as well. And the reason why I'm just calling him out is he is an avid networker, and he is brilliant at bringing people together and connecting people. And not only I was connected to him by somebody, then he's connected me to other people as well. Also, Darren Saul, I just want to give you a quick shout out. Now, Darren has had a lot of experience in helping some significant brands in our industry build not only their personal brand online and through social media, but also helping them build podcasts. And that's a fascinating piece for me. I do listen to some podcasts. I'd love to do a podcast one day, but I know literally zero about the topic. So I thought it might be an interesting place to go as well today. So you know, really appreciate you being here, Darren, and look forward to what you can contribute.
Thank you.
And then of course there's, you know, many others in the room. I'm not going to call out everybody, but you know, there's some great people from Aussie Home Loans who I see who are quite prolific online, as well as a few others as well. So look, just want to say you're all very, very welcome. So just to kick us off, just to introduce the topic, when I'm having conversations and coaching mortgage brokers and people in financial services about, I guess, creating a brand online, most of the time, the two things they want to talk about is the Google search results, as in, am I up the top when someone types in my name? And then advertising on Facebook. They're probably the two things that keep coming up. And then the typical answer that I hear is, well, I came across this particular business that I can outsource that to. They will help me with my search engine optimization, and they're going to send out tiles and put tiles on my page every single week or month or whatever else for me. And my 56 followers who follow me or my business on Facebook, and that's going to create leads for me. And I don't know about you, but for myself, second Tuesday of every month, my social media feed, because I follow so many brokers, has about 30 different varieties of tiles that say that the Reserve Bank have left their interest rates on hold. And look, to be honest, I don't find that very engaging or adding much value at all. It tells me very little about the actual person behind that brand. So when we're talking about social media today, I'm not talking about advertising on social media to build the brand awareness of your business. I'm talking about how can we use social media to build our own personal networks, personal brand, and attract people to our business.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it is all about personal brand. And one of the trends that I've been noticing for some time now is that especially clients, and I think the future, the people that we'll be working with in the future, you know, those people under the age of 30, they're looking to buy houses now and into the future. They're a little bit less trusting of large brands. So you think of the lack of trust in banks, and we all know what that's like, but then also the lack of trust in some other larger organizations or institutions like political parties. And we're seeing a rise of, you know, smaller political parties having a voice. Things like churches and religion. There's, you know, you think of some of your large your large brands like Myers or David Jones, those sorts of brands, people now are a little bit hesitant to trust a brand. They want to know who is the people behind that brand, and are they authentic, relatable, approachable? Do they seem like somebody who I like and I want to follow? And what we've seen come out of that is this rise of social media influencers and people who have literally created online businesses without any shop front, without any advertising on TV or in some of the traditional ways. I think this is a real opportunity for us to be a part of that world. But how do we actually do that? Now, as large brands, we'll say banks in our part, as banks try to attract more and more customers by throwing money at marketing, advertising, technology, what is going to be the point of difference for us as an industry that allows us to continue to be the #1 choice for our customers? And I think it comes down to personal brand. I think it comes down to people want to trust us. For example, I've got kids. Has anyone else got kids? Yeah, okay, there's a few of you. Now, I could go on Airtasker and hire a perfectly capable babysitter to look after my kids who probably has a degree and 25 years experience. Or I could go across the road and ask a teenage girl across the road where I know her dad. And I'm likely going to go for the second option because I know who they are, I trust them, I can see them every day, they're part of my community. And I think it's still the same when you're seeking advice, especially in finance, that people are going to want to know who is behind that brand and are you real, authentic, genuine, approachable. And I think that's going to be the reason why our industry continues to be the first choice for Australians when seeking financial help. Just to, when we are looking at trying to attract customers, I just think it is important, I'm going to get a touch on this and move on, that we know who our customer is. But the second part of that is we need to know where they're at. What's currently grabbing their attention? What are they paying attention to? What platforms are they using from social media? Where do they go for advice? Who are they talking to? Who are the influencers? Where do they go to if they're going to ask questions or have a discussion? Who is their social circle? Where are they online? And how do we place ourselves where they're already in a place that they're already paying attention to? Rather than trying to fight for their attention, we can actually put ourselves in the middle of where they actually are and where their attention's already drawn to. And finally, I know social media is a scary thing for some people. It's scary for me. I'm kind of at that age where I'm like 1 foot in both camps, where I grew up without it. And then as I started getting older, I started being introduced to it. And there's aspects of it that still scare me. But I just want to encourage you today as we talk that most of the skill set required to generate or build a network online and generate leads is the same skill set that it would take to do it in any ordinary setting or world. So for example, where previously, if you wanted to target lawyers, you would find out what pub they drink at. You'd go play golf on the same golf course as them. You'll try to learn what books they're currently reading so you could have great conversations with them when you meet them. And you put yourself in that social setting and have social interactions with these people. That's how you build that network. Social media is still being social. It's just a different medium, social media, just a new medium to be social on. So that's where I want to encourage you that as we explore this, let's think about ways that we can be social on the medium of social media. And that means, replying to comments, having conversations, talking to people, adding value, connecting online, not necessarily just advertising online. So that's just a little bit about the introduction. And then I'm just going to quickly jump into just a few case studies that I think are interesting for us to look at. And we did mention lawyers, so I'm just going to bring up Cullen Haynes. Just give me 1 moment, just need to quickly share this screen now. Now I do have these people's permission also to share their social media and their story. And I'd encourage you to go and follow them as well. So Cullen, if you look down at his experience, he's only been a mortgage broker for just over 3 years. Now, Cullen, when he decided to become a mortgage broker and he left a big bank to do so, he knew exactly who his target audience was going to be, and that was lawyers and solicitors. Now, he didn't know anything about lawyers. He didn't know any lawyers. He wasn't a part of any of their community at all, but he decided that was his target audience. And he started a business literally called Legal Home Loans. So it's a big, brave step. But then he spent a lot of time actually researching where they go online for advice, what groups are they a part of, what associations are they a part of, what are they into? And he actually tailored his content to actually interact with lawyers online. And if you go and you follow him on social media, you'll notice that he probably comments on other people's posts more than he posts himself. And he injects himself into some conversations. And look, and as a result, like if you look at how many connections he has now, so he's only got 700 connections online, but most of them are lawyers. And he's just recently, I'm not sure whether it says it here at all, but he's just been put up for, I think, the MFAA's Rising Star Broker of the Year or something like that as well. And he's doing phenomenally well. It might be in some of his messages. Let's just quickly look at his activity. I think it's just down here. So as you can see, a lot of video content. I think that's important for us to note. I think it's just a little bit further down. Sorry, yeah, here we go. So look at this: Innovator of the Year, Residential Broker of the Year, Marketing Campaign of the Year. Now that's an impressive start. 3 years in, and most of you have been a broker know that first 2-3 years is absolute hell. Trying to build a brokering business. And look, and he's done it better than most. Just going to quickly jump back to, sorry, just give me one moment. Just going to look at one more, and this is Dino Patchella. Does anyone know Dino already? Fire away. Yeah, there's a few of you who would. Now, once again, Dino, he's not on the Zoom today, which is good. Last time he was, so I had to. I couldn't tell the whole story, but I'll tell you the whole story. And again, he knows this. Many years ago, I was running training sessions around social media and building referral networks for Aussie home loans. And at the time, there was this BDM from Suncorp in WA, and being the typical snobby Sydney sider I thought there's nothing lower than being from WA and a Suncorp BDM. But there was this guy called Dino Patchella who was all over social media, spruiking about how many awards he had won and how great he was. And I used to use him as an example, saying, well, look, if this nobody BDM from WA at Suncorp, this many followers on social media, and his content's relatively corny and it's getting him results, any of us can do it. And look, I'm a little bit embarrassed by some of this, by the way. So, but it is what it is, and this is being genuine, out there, authentic. And then, it got to that stage where even myself and a couple of friends of mine would actually use his profile picture and create memes and send them to each other when we wanted to tell each other that you're doing well, or it became a little bit silly. So it became this thing. And look, and as I was following him, of course, his content started to become better and better, and he obviously started to get more influential. And I was at an event and I bumped into him, and suddenly discovered that he's one of the nicest guys on the planet. we really clicked and got along, and it instantly formed a friendship, and really started to understand his story and why he was doing what he was doing, and just the risk that it took in putting himself out there, and some of the flack that he copped when he first did. And in Australia, we have the tall poppy syndrome, where if somebody does put himself out there, then we're likely to try to push them back into their cage. And look, and that relationship went from strength to strength, and eventually I had to confess to him that I had been making memes about him back in the day, and using him as an example in social media training. And his response was, well, at least every time you ran that training, I gained another 30 followers. So so it all worked out well. But he's got an interesting story where he's really built his own brand from nothing. But there's no good reason why Dino should be more influential than any other BDM in the industry, other than he decided to put himself out there and actually do something. Now, if you look at it now, like, he's got over 170,000 followers, and people actually approach him now offering to pay him money to put posts on his wall. And all that he's done is really put himself out there, being consistent, continued to improve the quality of his content over time. And he just started a little bit earlier than some others. So him and I started on LinkedIn about the same time. I've got about 9,000 followers. He's got 170,000. And that just is because he was willing to commit to this. And it's funny, where I was talking to him the other day, and I said, where did that tipping point come where you were no longer the Dino from WA who worked for Suncorp and why is he all over social media, to, Dino is an authority on social media, personal branding, content. I want him to come and speak at my event. And it's funny, he goes, well, he actually didn't even notice when that transition had happened, because for him, it was just always focused on making sure that he could build himself a platform where he could have a voice and bring value to the industry. And if you don't already know about it, National Finance Brokers Day was started by Dino. It's on the 18th of August this year. I'd encourage you to check it out. And he really has done that exactly, where he's built a strong platform for himself, where he's able to add a significant amount of value to the industry. And he's also up this year for Thought Leader of the Year. So look, I thought that would just be a great place to start. And there's some others there that you can go check out in your own time as well. Just a great place to start to give us, I guess, some context, a few, I guess, examples of people who are out there doing things. But just to kick us off, I thought I wouldn't mind asking Darren, who's kind of outside our industry, but has done some work within our industry, just to share, I guess, some of your thoughts on what you're seeing, trends, what your experience has been like, what some people are doing well and not well. I'd love to hear from you, Darren.
Oh, thanks, Andrew. Appreciate it. I just want to, thanks everybody for having me, and willing to listen to any insight that I have. But one thing that I just wanted to mention is I really loved what Andrew said before about the fact that most people just rely on Google and, social media posts on Facebook here and there, and that's all they do. Is that what I find people do a lot of work in terms of jumping into social media and doing a lot of work with content, which is fantastic, and I'll get to that in a second. But what a lot of people don't do, and something that Andrew mentioned is really important, is they don't bring enough people into their world. They don't fill up their audience. So their social media has nothing to fall on. And when he mentioned that social media is just like networking in any other non-internet form, the theory is exactly the same. So one thing that I think, there's two things that make up any fantastic social media marketing strategy. First one is the content, and there's a whole world of information about how to create content. But the second is your audience. And most people forget about the audience. So they put all this content together, and then they wait for a trickle of one or two people to follow them, or a family friend, or a friend of a friend. And it's really slow because they don't do enough work to fill up their audience with the right people. So that's something that I do all the time, is I'm always trying to bring new people into my audience and target audience members, so that when I do put out great social media content, it actually has value and it actually brings me something in return because it's reaching enough people. So that's a really important point that you mentioned, because not a lot of people think about things in those terms. They just think about creating content, but forgetting about actually putting the right audience into your world.
Very good. And what type of things do you do, Darren, to do that? Like, I know I've recently discovered Facebook groups or LinkedIn groups where I go and try to add value and joining conversations. And if someone likes something I say, I quickly add them as a friend and invite them into that. What type of things can you do to attract people?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's so many. From a social media point of view, using different groups are fantastic, as you mentioned, like posting any relevant, valuable content to different groups. And they might not be groups that are exactly in your industry. You have to think laterally about this. So if you're looking for customers for mortgage broking industry, you might say, oh, these people might also be on real estate groups, or they might be on, I don't know, wedding groups, because they might be first home buyers, or, you got to think laterally about where these people are going to be. And then you can start targeting a myriad of groups that have up to 200, 300,000 followers in them and drawing people to you. So that's one fantastic way to do it, is to really use groups. And LinkedIn is really powerful for that. I find LinkedIn is super powerful for that. And I do that. I've got about 15 or 16 groups that I post on every time I do anything interesting, and I put it to everywhere, and I build it's like building an extended audience, and slowly they come to you. That's definitely one. The second is people just forget to connect with every single person that they meet in the world. So if I'm going to be talking to you guys today, ideally, I would get every single person's name. And at the end of this meeting, I would say, guys, really nice to meet you on the session today. So here's a LinkedIn request. Hopefully we can connect and collaborate. Every single person I meet in the world, I say, all right, I want to bring that person into my world on social media. That's how you got to think about it. They have to come into your web, because if they're not in front of you, in your web, all your content is wasted. They're never going to see you. They're never going to know anything about you. They're never going to find you. They're never going to refer you. They're never going to do any business with you. But if I say every single person that I meet in the world, from the person I meet in the cafe to the person that I meet at a conference, or the person that I meet on a webinar, I will make it my business to go and bring them into my world. So actively bringing them into your world by connecting with them on LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever channels that you're going to be using. What else can you do?
Just on that, Darren. So first of all, a great example with groups, and I'm a part of a group called Men's Finance Advice. And look, it's mostly 18, 19-year-olds saying, I've got $10,000, should I buy Bitcoin? But I was in there the other day, and somebody said, I'm looking to buy a Smartline franchise. Has anyone had any experience in this space before? Can you help? And I was like, well, it was like somebody just put a present in front of me, right up my alley. It's like, this is exactly what I provide advice on. And even better, so I commented and said, look, yes, we should connect. Look, I've helped well over 100 people start a broking business over the years for many different brands. I'm happy to have a chat. And then off the back of that, had someone else say, can I DM you as well? Who is actually becoming a client of mine, who is from a completely unrelated field at all, but needed some advice around building out a brokerage themselves. So to your point, unrelated group, but now you've got to put yourself out there. I think that's the joy of social media, where traditional networking is you go to a B&I meeting or you go to the pub and there's 50 people there that you can connect with. Where social media gives you a platform to connect to literally millions of people. You just got to find your tribe out there and who these people are. And my advice is try different groups. Just try to work out I don't think any of us know where the gold is. Just go looking for it.
Yeah. And if one or two people, if you get booted off a group or two, who cares? It's happened to me once or twice, but that's all right. I'm one of 15 others. It doesn't matter. Like, it's no big deal. Try, but the key is if your content is valuable, it's less likely that you're going to be ill received. People are going to love what you do, and they're going to actually follow you. So it's all about the value of your content.
I heard on another, there's a panel I was on recently where someone else said, don't sell on social media. Make friends on social media, invite them into your group, and then sell to them offline. And I thought that's just really good advice around, to your point, build your audience first, make friends, show that you can add value, give stuff away for free, become personable, likable, authentic, genuine, put yourself out there.
Yeah.
And then as they might become your friend, then they might follow your business, and then they might click on something, and then you can sell to them. It's not just going out there saying, who needs a home loan? I've got the cheapest rates in market. I don't think that works. Do you have an opinion on that?
Oh, absolutely. And I would 100% agree with you. Like, I see most people, not most, it's getting better, getting much better, but most people that jump onto social think, this is just an opportunity for me to promote myself. So every single post is, I'm so proud to announce this. I'm so happy that this has happened. It's all about them and what's happened to them. What value does that give to your audience? Zero. Like, it's like, and Gary Vee does this so well. Andrew and I both love Gary Vee. We follow Gary Vee. I think Gary Vee is the master, but Gary Vee breaks it down into 3 parts. He says, your content has to be educational, has to be entertaining, and it has to be promotional. But it's the ratio that's important. And I would say 20% can be promotional, but 80% has to be educational and or entertaining. And if you can think about that, whatever you're doing with social media, if you just ask the question, how is this helping my audience? If it's helping your audience in some way, great. If it's just helping you, think about, all right, am I going a bit overboard with my self-promotion? So I see this all the time, and most big companies and small companies alike still don't really do this well. They're getting better, but people that have done social media well for the last 2 and 3 and 4 years, like some of those people you mentioned, they are doing this in a much more effective way because they're commenting, they're sharing information, they're building a community, they're building trust. They're not just promoting their product and saying, come to me, this is what I do, or I'm so proud, here's me, I've just won this award, or who cares? My response is always, who cares? If someone cares, great. If nobody cares, don't even put it up there. What's the point?
It's funny you say that. One of the case studies that we didn't go through today, Joel Peasy, he does a video every single week that says, what's peasing me off?
Yeah.
And he literally just goes on a rant once a week about, I don't know, the way people park at shopping centers or whatever else. Purely entertainment. That's all it is. Yeah. And it's created quite a significant following for him, completely not related to finance at all.
It's entertaining. Perfect.
Yeah.
Look at the Kardashians. What value have they brought? But look how successful they've been. Pure entertainment. So there's nothing wrong with entertaining to build an audience. But if you can do both, if you can give people information and educate them and be entertaining, you've won.
Yeah, very true. Like, and to your point about not big noting yourself on social media, like if we take that offline and bring it back into the real world, if you walked into a networking meeting or a pub and every person you met, you'll say, hi, I'm Australia's best mortgage broker. How well would that go down?
They'll be running. Oh, I'm just going to the bathroom. I'm just going to grab a drink. They'll be off.
You'd be pretty lonely by the end of the night.
So, it's my philosophy really to just be almost stealth. I don't want to sell anything. I don't want to promote anything. I just want to come on here, have fun, meet the right people, give you some insight into what I think and my philosophy, and give you some value. And if you want to go and look for me later on, great. If you don't want to look for me, doesn't matter. I'm not worried about it at all. And in the long run, if you continue to have that philosophy, it will come back to you. And it's happened to me time and time again. So it's not about, let's just use everything to promote ourselves. Of course, you have to think like a promoter as a salesperson. So there are opportunities to maybe make a plug here or there, but it's not 90%, 80% of the time, it's just about, can I give you something that's going to be beneficial to you? And that will passively build awareness for what you do and who you are. And people will go and follow you and search for you if they like you.
Yeah, I've always looked at it as in, your interactions online have to be personal, authentic, relatable, genuine, and then your content that may be on your website or your I guess your landing page, is that's where you put your social proof. That's where you put all your rewards and your testimonials and your recommendations. Because people say, I like this guy. Maybe I know I have a home loan. I need to get a home loan. And yes, Lauren or Jennifer, I think they're in that industry. I'm going to go Google them and search them and see whether they are who they say they are and whether other people use them. And I think that's where that's a combination of having great content, social proof, but you can't have one without the other of actually getting out there and interacting with people online and making friends and relationships and putting yourself out there.
I love the way you put that. I think it's so important. Your website is your landing page where people can find out about you. They can read testimonials. They can read about what you do, what you charge, what awards you've won. That's the end. That's your home. That's the end result. But social media is the hook. Social media is the hook to bring those people that are interested in you to your landing page, to your website. You have to think about creating content to build awareness for what you do in a very passive way that builds trust. And then when people are ready, they'll go to your website to say, what's this person all about? It's not about, a good analogy. It's not about using what you do on the website on social and vice versa. They each have a place, a very separate strategy.
Very good. And look, at this stage, I'd love to open up for questions, thoughts, comments. If anyone's too scared to go first, I can pick somebody. I'll just give you an opportunity. Anyone?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind saying something.
Right, bud.
Both for Andrew and Darren. People have been spruiking about Clubhouse, which is more of an audio group session. I've not jumped onto one. It keeps jumping on my phone all the time. Have any of you had an experience with that? And is it working as opposed to video being king? All of a sudden now it's heading into audio for some reason, being the flavor of the quarter. I don't know. What are your thoughts?
Andrew, you want to jump in?
Well, the only experience I've had with Clubhouse is that I got Bud to send me the invite because I just wanted to be able to tell people I was invited onto Clubhouse.
You owe me a beer.
I haven't actually used it. I've just got it. But no, Greg, I saw you pop up. Do you have any insight into Clubhouse or audio?
No, mate, nothing into Clubhouse. I mean, obviously, podcasts are kind of a pretty different medium compared to just straight up social media. But I think you get an opportunity to really add value. It's pretty hard to, unless you're a Gary V type person who's got a whole team behind you. It's really hard to deliver 150 bits of content a week that all add value in a particular kind of silo. His silo is growing businesses and through marketing, right? So I think there's opportunities outside of just some of the. I think that if I had to summarize kind of what's been going on, it's pick something and give it a red hot crack and actually just be consistent with it for a period of time, as opposed to doing one post in everything once a month and expecting something to happen. It's kind of like prospecting for leads or reviewing your existing client database. If you only do it once a week, it probably doesn't really work. So I think, it's just consistency and pick a medium that works for you. If you don't want to do videos, that's fine. Maybe you're not the kind of guy who wants to be in front of the camera. But maybe you could do a podcast. Maybe you can do something else that adds value. I just think, give something a crack and trying to do it consistently is probably the downfall for all of us. I don't think, I'm not putting it on social media either because it's just a consistency game. I'm not consistent with it.
Yeah, really good point. I actually like the fact that you called out there's other mediums out there. Look, and LinkedIn is just one platform. Facebook is just one platform. If you like writing really long essays, maybe you need to jump on Quora, like Q&A, as in. I know there's a famous psychologist and author by the name of Jordan Peterson, who he started out answering questions on Quora, ended up writing I think it's 13 reasons for life. I can't remember what it was called or something, and it ended up turning into a best-selling book. It started out just answering people's questions on Quora. So it's definitely, there's a platform for everybody out there.
And can I just jump in? Clubhouse can be really powerful if you take the time to build your community and become the host of your little room. And it's basically like doing what we're doing right now in pure audio form. And so a lot of people have had a lot of success. I've been on a lot of different groups, and I just was on one the other day in America. This girl was fantastic, and she created such a great forum that went on for 2 or 3 hours, and had such a great community. So it's just about how much work you want to put in to develop it. It's just another platform. You know, there's LinkedIn, there's Facebook, there's Instagram, there's TikTok, there's podcasting, there's YouTube, and there's Clubhouse. You know,
I guess you got to spread yourself around, don't you? Really, it's quite time consuming otherwise.
Yeah, and my advice is, when you're starting out, you can't tackle them all. Just tackle the one or two that where you think you're going to get the biggest bang for your buck and bang for your time. And just as Greg said, just go all in and just be consistent. So I always say social media it's more even about the system than it is about the content. If the system is the fact that you do this, you churn out content every single day religiously, even if it's just 1 or 2 pieces, but it's happening every single day. That's the system, it's the machine. As soon as you stop the machine, everything falls apart. Well, some days your content's better than others. But the fact that you're there every single day, and your brand is in front of people every single day, in front of your target audience, the system, the machine is what drives you and drives the awareness. So it's almost more important to be consistent than it is for the quality of your content. But at the same time, you're getting better, and you're developing better quality content as you go.
Yeah, I sometimes question whether people even read my content.
Oh, they wouldn't even
watch my videos. They just because I've just started being a little bit more consistent with my social media. As in people just go, "Oh, you're the guy off social media." They don't even know what I'm about, really.
Half the time, that's all you need. It just that's Andrew, or that's the brand name. Oh yeah, it's a subliminal message, like Coca-Cola. For the last 50 years, all you saw was the Coca-Cola logo, but it worked.
It's just buying mind space. You're purchasing mind space.
100%.
I think. Just
Darren a question. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, go for it.
My question to Darren is, should you have it before you start just like willy-nilly posting on wherever? Should you have a bit of a plan around who your ideal customer is, and what, I guess, because it's impossible to add value to everyone, right?
Yep.
So if I've got the best home loan in market and I'm getting advice from an awesome broker and a financial planner and an accountant, and I'm really happy,
yep,
the chance of winning business from them is nothing. Like they're already locked in.
Yep.
So it's like, and there's a bit of a, we get carried away trying to boil the ocean all at once. We go and say like, oh, well, what platform and how many people? And the truth is, like, most brokers, if they got 2 new customers a week through social media, would absolutely fill their boat.
Absolutely. And the referrals
I've got to talk to this person, and they're trying to work out, how do I get 175,000 followers on Instagram? You wouldn't know what to do with it.
Yep, 100%. And I work as a recruiter, as well as, like, I do this social media stuff is almost a byproduct of everything else I've done, and it's a passion for me. So it's almost like a side hustle. But my main job is I'm an IT recruiter, and I purely use LinkedIn. I don't use any other platform. I only use LinkedIn, and even within that, to answer Greg's question, is I have a niche, and I work in a particular niche within IT, and that's it. So you have to know who your target audience is. It's also great to have a niche within that, a niche within a niche, and really become the specialist in your area, and just use social media to drive that message home.
Probably just something else I'll add to that. And if you're just starting out, just work out what's something that you're already passionate about. Like, so for example, I follow the St. George Dragons in rugby league, and I enjoy talking about the Dragons. And I'm sorry if anybody hates the Dragons out there, but just jump online.
I got to go now. Sorry.
Yeah, all good, bud. You better not be a Manly supporter. That's all I can.
No, definitely not.
All good. But you can just jump online, join every single group about the Dragons in Facebook, and for an hour every single morning, just go in there and comment on whatever grabs your attention, and just start making friends with other people who support the Dragons. And maybe just every 6th comment or post, just find a way to relate it back to what you actually do for work. You know, I almost missed last night's game because I had to go help somebody with a home loan, or last, or whatever it might be. And once you start making friends in those groups, add them to become friends with them on Facebook. Then on your Facebook page, you've got new content there that we actually talk about what you do as well, and have conversations with them on the back of those posts, and then slowly bring them into your business. And it doesn't have to be hard work. It can literally be, make friends while you play online, and go out and just find your tribe. Like, for example, the way I met Darren was through someone else called Alan Stevens, who I had, he's an expert in reading micro expressions, which I just found fascinating. Reached out to him. We ended up having a great conversation. Went to his webpage, saw an interview he did with Darren, started watching Darren's content. I was like, hey, Darren talks about a lot of the same stuff that I talk about, and he seems like a really cool guy. And I reached out to him, and like straight away, it's just like, yeah, I trust him. I feel like I know him already. Which I think is another fascinating, and this is something I wouldn't mind getting some discussion around. Once you are out there online and people start to know who you are, and I've spent some time with Dino, and I remember we were in a shopping center once where he's walking past and 2 people sitting at a table and start pointing at him and whispering. So anywhere he goes now, people kind of know who he is, which is just really weird, especially in our industry. And he was talking about how people come up to him like he is their best friend because they know who he is. He has no idea who they are at all. But, once you do start putting yourself out there, how do you manage that or relate to that? Or do people have concerns or fears about being known? I know I do. I know it sounds stupid, but I hate being the center of attention. I hate people knowing who I am and I don't know who they are. It really scares me to put myself out there. I'm very scared of failing. I'm scared of saying the wrong thing. I'm scared of, look, and I'm just being very transparent. I'll get off this today and I'll be the most critical person on how this went in this room. Most of you won't even remember it tomorrow. I'll still be thinking about it in a week's time. I think that there are real fears about putting yourself out there on social media. And I think also, and I'm careful how I say this, but sometimes, especially if you're female as well, I think that's even, and I've worked with a few brokers now who have attracted some weird attention being female on social media. What's our thoughts about that? How do you deal with that? Does anyone else have any fears around that? Or is it just me who's just scared of putting myself out there?
I think by the silence, we're all admitting that we have fear about in front of people and having particularly like video content and stuff like that, right? Like audio content's probably pretty easy. People are happy to, put their voice to something. No one will ever know who it was. But yeah, I think it's totally natural, right? And I think there's a funny kind of, there's quotes on this in everywhere, right? About, the difference between the people who kind of do it and don't is just letting that fear kind of hold them back. There's no, they don't not feel it. They just did it and then they got over it, and they either continue to do it or they do it even though they are worried about it. And there's always people, and particularly as you said before earlier, there's always people who are going to take pot shots at what you're doing or make a side comment or whatever. But if you truly believe in kind of what you're posting and it's adding value, then like they're obviously just not your audience. You only need, as we're talking about before, you only need 100 loyal fans and your diary's booked every day of the week. So why worry about what 100,000 people think? You only 100 of them.
Very good. I'm going to call someone out because I know they do very well on social media. and they're being a bit quiet. But Lauren, I know you generate a fair bit of business through social media as well. I wouldn't mind getting your take on some of this. I know you've been a bit quiet, but I think you've got a lot to offer.
Well, for your exact same reasons, that's why I was being a bit quiet. So obviously you have the fear of I don't like being on video, but here we go. So I've been generating my own self-source leads for about 2 years. So without taking any company source leads and just being a broker in a store, that's just how I found that I generate the best leads and just have that rapport and trust with the clients. Biggest thing for me is Facebook. So I'm only just starting to work my way into LinkedIn. But Facebook for me, especially around my audience, there's lots. I'm a mum, I've got 2 young kids. So I've got that massive group of people in, especially in Newcastle and the Hunter, of local mums who are in the same position. I've got my clients in groups who constantly, everyone's asking for a mortgage broker and they just plug my name every time. So those, like what Greg was saying, those loyal fans that you have, it doesn't matter if you only have 5 or 10 of them, you just need a few to keep plugging your name, and then they go and look on your sites and read your reviews that everyone else has written, and then that's how they become, I guess, genuine.
It's brilliant. It's brilliant.
Can I ask a question, Lauren? Do you use your own page? Do you have a business page? Do you have like a personal Lauren Johnson, the mortgage broker page, or?
Yeah, so when I first started, so I'm a mortgage broker with Aussie, work at the Toronto office. I started doing the Toronto site's Facebook page, but then as soon as I started to go off company source leads and just do my own self-source leads, thought there's no point in me doing the stores page anymore because it's not generating me any income. So I worked solely on doing my own broker page, so Lauren Johnson Mortgage Broker, Aussie Toronto. That is at the moment I've got one girl who's helping me with all my appointments and leads and putting everything in, but at the moment it's getting too much now. So the lead generation that I get from that has been really successful.
Cool, nice.
Yeah.
Well, I think with regards to video, you just gotta bite the bullet, practice. Can be scary at the beginning, but you just gotta practice. It's all just practice.
So I've left. Luckily, I was nominated for the MFAA's Excellence Awards in 3 different categories. So now that it's been pushed to a virtual award ceremony, I had to film myself last night giving an acceptance speech. And, this is probably the 3rd time that I've appeared on camera. Photos I can deal with, camera not so much. So this is probably the 3rd time. So I guess everyone here's pretty lucky.
You did very well.
Feel very lucky. Look, I just to be honest, as in I've been shooting a little bit of video, and actually, Greg, you and I have had conversations about this in the past, and I kept on talking about what I was going to do, and then never did anything. And I finally started to do some things, and I'm putting out like little short videos. And what you wouldn't see is there's probably 40, 50 takes that I'm doing just for one video, and not because they're bad. It's just I'm just so anxious about putting one video out. But I've noticed I'm getting better at it as I go, and slowly not being as judgmental and realizing that sometimes making a mistake or being a little bit awkward or is just relatable. It's authentic, and people don't mind that. And I think that sometimes when you try to be too professional and make it look too great is when it comes across as corny and like a little bit douchebaggy. So you just have to start. Look, I completely agree. Just a quick funny story. I was on another panel recently where, and I've just put the website into the comments. There's a website called photofeeler.com.au, and what it does is you can take a profile picture that you use on social media for either business or personal, even for dating if you're on Tinder or whatever else, and you put it into this website. and then it actually comes back with a social score on people score you on do you look like you're capable, friendly, influential, etc. And it's a bit of a humbling experience. I can tell you. So one of my mates, Fabian's on here today. Fabian did it first, and I looked at his results. He's got all these like 7s out of 9 or whatever else. I'm like, I am going to stick my phone up there. I came back with 4s. And I'm like, I was like, God, like this is horrific. But
yeah, but a solid 4, right?
yeah, it was a 4, almost 5. Yeah.
Although, Andy, I would like to point out that you put a note on mine saying photo seems a bit flirty for business, in my opinion.
Yeah, I actually
So
came across his photo when because you go and rank other people's photos to be a farmer, and I came across his photo, and I may have I gave him a good score, but I wrote a comment that I thought, because it gives you options of feedback, and I said, "Oh, too flirty," just to see whether he would notice. But look, there's some great tools out there like that. And as much as it's confronting, I actually then went back and looked at my profile picture that I use on LinkedIn, and I realized that, and some of the feedback was, look, it's the way it's been cropped is, too high, too low, this, and I'm like, oh, actually, they're right. So sometimes you just got to be brave enough to put yourself out there and accept the feedback that comes, because the only result of it is going to be one of two things. Either you're going to stop and do nothing, which I've done a lot for many years, or you get better at it. And we all want to get better at it. So I'd say, and look, and there's people in this room, and if you want to get advice on something, I'm sure anyone here would be happy to look at your content or to give an opinion or a second opinion on something. Hopefully we can create a bit of a trust bubble here where we all know what we're trying to achieve. Reach out to someone. I'm happy to have a chat to anyone for 5-10 minutes if I can add a bit of value around this stuff. And not that I'm an expert, but happy to give you my opinion. Doesn't cost me anything. Look, who haven't we heard from yet? Michael, you've been a bit quiet since we talked about England winning, well, not winning, but making it to the final of a Euro. What's your experience been online? What are you doing right now? What's working for you? What isn't?
So I run all the social media for Designer Financial Services. One of the things, some feedback from the guys is that we're too busy. We're too busy to be on social media. So what I did is I was like, well, let's automate it then. So I'm currently using a program called Later. And with Later, you can schedule your post of the week on day one, and you can transition that one post on Facebook and Instagram. So you're hitting both things and doing one piece of work. And then on top of that as well, you can use things like Canva, which is a free bit to make your banners. So you've got your free content from Canva. And then you can also use a great thing called $1.80, Gary V technique. And that automates you to go into your target market or whatever the word is. So it could be finance. And I'll bring up the top posts in finance in Australia. And then what you can then do is comment on that. So with that, you've got your content going out. You've got your good content from Canva building it. And then you've got access to the top posts and you're commenting on it. So you're hitting everything in that kind of triage from doing one day's worth of work.
That's really good.
So again, time's the one thing what brokers don't have. So automating as much as possible is the best thing forward. Doing that, I've basically grown the DFS social on Instagram from about 400 people to 2,500 in 6 months. And the reason we're doing that is consistency. Is what people don't do is with a broker, what I found is you look at the month before, the month you're in, a month after. And that's kind of your box. So you've got this 3-month box. But with me, I was like, guys, we need to put in a 90-day content plan. And this is what we're going to tell. This is the story we're going to tell. It's that consistency piece. I post 6 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
And that's automated. And I do that consistently. And just kind of doing that really, really helps out. The reason for doing that is because it's increasingly difficult to get heard because there's so much noise. Right, you want to be the signal and not the noise. And again, that's been relevant, interesting, timely, entertaining. and then superior is the kind of the last one. So that's kind of that rights model. So yeah, it's very complex.
If there's anything you put in the comments, like websites that other people can visit, we'd love to hear some of that stuff, because I think you just threw out like 10 golden nuggets all at once. Like I'm just trying to process some of that, but yeah, some great content there as well. But and also make sure you put your own details there too. So if anyone wants to reach out to you and have a chat, they can as well.
Yeah.
Yes, Darren.
Quick one, guys, just for everybody out there, I've just uploaded into the chat just a copy of, normally when I do a course, a social media course, I do it in 2 parts. And I've just uploaded all my content material for you guys to have for free. And it can just take through the whole art of social media production from A to Z, and it's all there for you. It's just step by step.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant.
You can have it.
Thank you for that, Darren. That's amazing. That's amazing. Just while we're talking about tools, just another one I've come across, which I've found very helpful. Once again, as in, I like to think I'm a bit of a wordsmith, and that I'm clever and great with marketing, like most people do. And then, unfortunately, I don't think we are as good as what we think we are. And look, everyone you talk to has an opinion on what works in marketing and doesn't. There's this great website, which I'm just popping into the chat now, called headlines.sharethrough. And it's actually, it's an algorithm that is based on neuroscience around what actually creates engagement or interactions with people. So if you're putting up a tile, or you're sending out an EDM or something like that to your database, you can actually write the headline into that, and it gives it a score and recommends what else you could do with that headline to make it more engaging or to create a stronger impression. I think it's brilliant. I used it last night for an EDM, which I need to send out soon, and I was able to improve my score from, I think, 56 to a 75 just by reworking the wording. And the reality is, although I thought my first attempt was brilliant, by the time I got to the score of 75, I was like, actually, yeah, this would be more appealing to my audience. The first headline made sense to me, but wouldn't have captured someone else's attention, because I don't really know what I'm talking about, where I do. So another great, absolute great, I guess, website or tool that you can use when, along with Canva and everything else that people are mentioning. I'm just going to pick on Ben. Ben, sorry, Nate. Just because I guess you do offer mortgages, but you also, I guess, do financial planning as well. And I follow you on LinkedIn. There's a lot of automated content that you put out with some great messages and really, really good free content. I wouldn't mind just hearing, I guess, what you've been doing, what your thought process is around social media as well.
Yeah, no, thanks for having us. So yeah, we obviously have a financial planning, mortgage broking, and insurance business. So yeah, we use, I think he used Later or something. We use Buffer, which is very much similar scheduling tool. So I have a VA that we sit down and do 3 months or 6 months in advance. We actually schedule what marketing we're going to do. So the second quarter of this year, we talked about tax planning. So it's obviously a lot of tax planning coming up in the financial year, around superannuation and, tax tips and whatnot. So we actually schedule that for that quarter through Trello. So we use Trello for our scheduling, and then we actually then use Buffer to actually put the automating each week. So the advantage of doing that is that we know exactly what's going to happen each week, what's on there, and it's 6 months in advance. So obviously there's some things that come up, if that's, RBA or whatever might be additional, post, but yeah, it's basically scheduled 6 months in advance on the content or what we're going to have for that quarter. So yeah,
Awesome.
That helps.
Very good,
Yeah.
very good.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to quickly jump over to Jennifer, because I know that you have, I guess, a similar type of business in that you're an accountant who also does other things as well. And plus, I follow you on socials, and I see some really good stuff, and your staff too. Your staff put out some great content as well and have some great conversations online.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. So yeah, we're an accounting practice primarily with some financial planning and mortgage broking for our clients. I guess from our point of view, the thing that we find with socials is that with 3 brands that we sort of need to market, you get the dilution. So, you can't post on the 3 buckets each day or whatever it is. So really each of those industries within our one group is only getting recognised at best twice a week. We do our scheduling as well. We use a platform called BOMA, and another one called BizInc, which is where we get a lot of our tax content and things from. That's, I guess, our biggest challenge is how do you do 3 businesses in one without saturating the market and driving people crazy. But I have to say, and I'm assuming everybody else has worked out this as well, the posts that we get the most reaction from, funnily enough, are my 2 dogs. So I've got 2 new puppies who are wrecking my house, my backyard, and everything that's left on the floor. So, every time I put a post up with them, our engagement triples what we put up when we put all this valuable content for people. So, I guess for me, that just goes to show that people are there more for the social side. And, 2 dogs wrecking something that was valuable to me is probably funny for most people. It's killing my bank account at the moment as I get up this morning to another 3 things chewed through the night. But yeah, so we're looking at the moment of trying to do a little bit of the video stuff, because it doesn't bother me standing talking in front of anybody or being on forums and things like that in the video content. But again, it's just that, where do you start? Where do you find the time? I don't care what anybody says, social media is almost a full-time job for any business now, particularly when you've got 3 buckets that we've got to cover. So that's my challenge.
Really good. Yes, Darren, I can see you eager. Go.
I mean, I can see this theme coming up a lot. So I just want to try and give you my insight, because everybody always says, social media is a full-time job. It takes so long, and it does. But there are ways to streamline it and really make this easy. So I'll give you just a little insight into what I do. I think of social media in a few different forms: video, audio, graphic, and it's all in the notes that I've given you already. Video, audio, graphic, written, and photo. Just think about 5 forms of content. You might not want to use all of them. You might just want to use 1 or 2. You might want to use dogs. You might do a whole series on dogs and put something else on top of it that has branding. If that's what's working for you, great. But what I do is think about social media content like ingredients. Say you could take the same 5 ingredients and you could cook 6 different dishes out of it. Think of social media in exactly the same way. You have all your ingredients in front of you. You have a video, you have a photo, you have a little bit of text that you might have written the other day. And then you might think in the morning or whenever you do it, all right, how can I put these 2 or 3 together to make it a bit different? I might put the same text with a different photo a week or 2 later. I might put the same video with a different bit of text. I might put 2 photos together. I might try and, it's all about regifting and repackaging what you already have. So you don't have to recreate the wheel every single time, because that's exhausting. So I save every single thing that I have. I have a folder with all my videos, a folder with all my photos, a folder with all my text. And then I sit down in the morning, because I get up early. And for the first half an hour of the day, I do my social media. And all I do is I say, okay, I'm going to jump on this brand today. What haven't I done in the last few days? I haven't done just plain text on LinkedIn. So grab an interesting text, bang, done. What haven't I done? I haven't done a video for a while. Let's grab a video. Let's put a bit of text that I did last week, put it together, bang. So I'm just trying to put stuff out there, but I'm trying to make it look fresh and new, but it's not always fresh and new. Granted, every now and again, you've got to put something new up because you're going to be inspired, but you just add that to the pool of content that you already have. And then every morning or whenever you do it, you say, all right, what can I put together? So you're almost like it's already there in front of you. You're just trying to repackage it. And it can save you a hell of a lot of time.
Really, really good advice. I know I've done that. I've actually put the same blog up twice and just changed the heading and title. And one got a lot more engagement than the other.
Yep.
And there was even one person who I saw had read both and commented on both and didn't even realize it was the same article.
Because there's so many stories out there anyway. Nobody even remembers what you did 6 days ago, or 3 days ago.
Exactly. You remember, but no one else does.
You remember, nobody else does. And the other thing is everybody forgets that you might have, I don't know, 5,000 or 10,000 people following you or in your audience. Only a very small percentage of those people are going to see that one post you did last week. If you repost it again next week, another small percentage might see it. So the whole new audience sees it every single time you do it, not to mention the fact that your audience is always growing and you've got a whole new audience as well. So you don't repost stuff. It's almost crazy not to.
But just going to quickly just point out in comments, Michael's left some really good tips there as well. So make sure you are reading comments. Lauren's asked a question. I think it's a great question. She said, does anyone have a closed group on Facebook where they invite clients to the group? If so, what do you post on there that is different to your standard business Facebook page?
Can I jump in there?
Sure.
Said I didn't mind talking in the videos. We have a closed Facebook group for our accounting practice. We haven't done it certainly for our mortgage broking, but inside there we drop in templates, we drop in little videos about why, giving them a little bit of growth for their business and things like that, or just tips around year end or reminders to check on that their employers paid their superannuation, to jump on it quick. So we use it more as a just to get our clients to gravitate to that one place where they'll then put up just little tips on, it might be a building construction industry that, hey, these guys have been great on site, left it in a great clean spot. And then our other building construction clients might gravitate to that. So we did it originally, we started it when COVID kicked in as a bit of a resource for people that were struggling with how they were going to survive through COVID. And if people lost jobs, they could put in there that, they're available to do handyman type jobs. So we use it as a community-based type thing rather than us spruiking our business. And that's been really effective in that people are jumping in, and it does give you that whole community-based type environment. And of course, it then is touch points. So we just jump in and comment every now and then. We don't have to comment too often. It sort of runs itself a little bit, other than we just throw something in every now and then to start conversations.
Really good, really good. Just a tip I've used and encouraged other people to use closed Facebook groups for as well is it's sometimes not about the content. It's about to create advocacy and prestige. So there's a personality type that loves to be an advocate of what you do, or wants to feel special. If you've got the ability to go through your database and tier off those who are influential, or you want to have a closer relationship, or you want more of that type of client, and create maybe like a platinum club or a gold club or something like that, and actually go out to those clients and say, look, you're a really valuable client to us. I want to invite you to our gold club. Gold club includes 2 events per year that you put on, where one might be an educational event, one might be a social event, but also you're going to get access to a closed Facebook group where you have direct access to me whenever you need me. Now, I know that sounds scary for busy people, as in, but the reality is these are the people who don't harass you anyway. They just want to feel like they're a part of something special and unique, and by doing that, you actually create advocacy. It also gives you 2 other options. One is when you are looking to transition to retirement, if you have a small core group of people that you want to continue to look after, that you actually enjoy spending time with and looking after, you can almost siphon them off from your book, sell the rest of your business, continue to look after these people, and it's profitable, enjoyable, and not too much work. The other thing that you can use it for then is it's actually a product that you can then use to leverage and get further influence in the community. So for example, you can go to your local real estate agency that you want to build a referral relationship and say, look, I've got my platinum club. These are my top 100 clients who are my most important clients to me. I want to run an educational event. Can we use your venue? And in return, I'll give you 15 minutes and the ability to put up your banners to talk about what you do, and you can get access to my top 100 clients. Of course, they're going to say yes, because they want that. But the best thing is you get a room of 100 advocates, 100 people who are advocates of yours, who feel special, feel important, and they've been invited to an exclusive event. And you get the real estate agency to invite some of their people as well. You don't have to say a word in that room. Every single person in that room will be going around saying, oh, I know Jennifer, I know Lauren, I know Michael, or whoever it might be. They'll be advocating for you and your brand, and you don't have to say anything. And it's something which I've learned, and this is, I've got no science behind this, haven't read it in a book, got no social proof, just my opinion. When it comes to creating advocates, sometimes it's not your service that creates an advocate, just a personality type. There's just some people out there who enjoy being the person who knows someone and wants to talk to everyone about who they know. Find out who those people are. Make them feel special. Let them, Lauren, to your point, as in there's people who want to jump on Facebook, and when someone says, do you know a mortgage broker? It's the same person who knows a mortgage broker answers that question every single time in that group. And if they're always saying your name, it's brilliant. It may not even be your client or customer, but invite them to an event, invite them to a closed Facebook group. Say, hey, I've got this really exclusive group I want you to be a part of. Gives you access to me 24/7. Here it is. Just on that point, I just want to quickly, but I know, I guess some of the work that you've been doing, and you're an avid networker, and you talk very well face to face as well as online. Although I didn't meet you online, I met you through the BNI group. I was invited to a BNI group by someone else, by a mutual friend years ago now. I wouldn't mind getting just your opinion on how, because this does translate into online world as well. How do you make people feel special? What conversations do you have to make genuine connections? How do you do what you do? I guess is what I'm asking.
Look, I think we've all been to networking functions, drink mixers, etc. at town hall, handing out lots of business cards. It's not quite the networking that we all want. We probably never see those people again, unfortunately. So it is a bit of repetition, similar to what we're talking about on social media just before, where you need to consistently do the same thing with the same people. They need to like and trust you before they will buy from you. Opening up your networks, your own networks, is a risk. If everyone's got 100 people they know, is the old adage. But for me to open that up to any one of you lovely people means I'm losing a bit of my reputation if you're not bloody good at what you do. Everybody is obviously excellent at what they do because their website says so. But unfortunately, they're not all brilliant, but we all try very hard. So it's a matter of being good at what you do, connecting with those people, making up for any losses if you have any failings or so very quickly. And that's, I've noticed in, like I'm in a BNI group now, have been for many years, is very good. It's a small part of what I do from a networking perspective. I've joined other groups like, I just put a note in the chat there of Nextdoor. Nextdoor's been great. It's a really good, fun community app helping people locally in your community. But I've also become the local lead for Enfield, where I live in the inner west, and people sort of refer to me for a bunch of different things. Hey, do you know a mortgage broker? Do you know a financial planner? I'm looking for a good bang. All of a sudden, I've got referrals. Regardless of the BNI thing, we're talking just helping people out. So becoming that hand that reaches out, I think, is really important, just to be helpful. And I think people appreciate that from a, just a good karma perspective. I don't expect anything back, but it just comes back in that respect.
I could not agree more with that. I'm big on the just give value away for free. We had this conversation, Darren. Whatever interaction you have, just look to give value. Don't look for a sale. Just how can you help? There's a really good Netflix series, if you haven't watched it, called Amsterdam, where like the whole concept is you've got this head of this hospital that's obviously having its issues and all the corporate BS going on there. And the director who comes in, he literally just gets everyone in the room and he asks a question, and he continues to ask it throughout the series, is in, how can I help? That's all he asks. How can I help? Well, just tell me how I can help. That's his whole I guess his relationship with people is based on how we can help. And I just love that whole concept of just look to give, just go out into your community online, give value. And I honestly can say this, I'm happy to help anyone out. Actually, even this think tank, I work for a particular brand where there's brokers that, I could say are mine. I'm not interested in just having this small little group who, well, it's not that small, but this little group of people that we all interact in together, and we keep everything to ourselves. Put it out there. As in, I'm happy to put out as much value as I can into, especially our industry, passionate about our industry. I don't care if you're from Aussie or Yellow Brick Road or you're an independent or wherever you're from. If I can add value to your business, I want to give value to your business. And I think in return for that is, there is advocacy. There's people who will join, Nectar Mortgages, for example, based purely on relationship and value. I actually did an interesting, and this, I think this will relate to, I'm talking about my clientele and my target audience, but I think it will relate to anybody's. I've been doing a lot of actually recreating some strategy around the growth of my business, and looking at where is our return on investment and where we should be spending money. Are we building online sales funnels? Are we cold calling? What are we doing? How are we engaging people? I just went back through the numbers and looked at what has worked previously, and overwhelmingly, most business still comes from referrals, either internally or externally, where people say you should go talk to Andrew. And that is purely based on the value that you've given at some point in time along the way. And it's something you build over time. It doesn't happen overnight. There's no quick fix to that. You can't just go create an ad campaign on Facebook and get business unless you've already have that social proof that you can provide value and give value. So your starting point is not how can I get leads and business from social media. Your starting point is how can I put value out into social media and build some great connections of friends and people to do life with. And off the back of that, you will generate business and leads. Just quickly, Dave, I know we haven't heard much from you and Chris. So I'm just going to ask whether either of you have anything to throw out there. Both of you are brilliant brokers in your own right. Chris is actually the best commercial broker in WA. Just thought I'd point that out because he would never say it himself. I'll probably start with yourself, Chris.
No worries. Hey, everyone. Yeah, so look, we're starting to do a little bit more in the social space. And I think the one thing, the constant theme I've been hearing from everyone, every time I've done one of these things or in talking to the guys that run our webpage and gives out platforms and things, it's all about video. And I think I've found that there's that once you start doing it, and same as Lauren, I've had to do the MFAA acceptance speech video, which is challenging. But what I've found, I actually did one recently for a landing page for some equipment finance, and like Andrew said, it took me about 50 goes, and I then had to scroll through all my photos on my phone to figure out which one was the one that I actually was happy with, and it took me about 3 hours. But we got there. But what I found was once I started doing it and actually got in front of the camera and got into a role, it was fine. I didn't actually mind it. Whether or not the end product was as polished as I would have liked to have been, that's another question. But it's early days, and I think I can. Now that I've done it a few times, I feel like it's easier and easier each time you do it, and it doesn't take much. I've literally done probably 3 or 4 videos, and I found that that's every time I do it, it's a bit easier, and I can flow through it a bit better, and I get a bit of a better idea to do it. So I'd probably say just get out there and do it. Everyone I look at on socials, what's his name, Peasy, I've looked at some of his photos and some of his videos and others, and they're not polished. The better, if the video is too polished, there's no credibility because it's someone's reading off an auto prompt, and there's just nothing of value there. But if there's a bit of a skip in a word, or you've said something 3 times, you've said too many times, it just creates sort of a bit more of a personal connection. It is my experience. And I think that's valuable because, as Darren said a few times, it's about creating credibility for yourself as a person, and none of us talk like robots or say things without saying or or whoops or changing up, whatever. So I think we can create that personal connection through there. I think just in terms of socials and the parasocials, just interesting timing that yesterday I had a client is actually also the guy that runs our website, so sort of a partner as well. Came out to LinkedIn, and he's admitted to me he's in social media and he hasn't used LinkedIn a lot, or certainly not to the extent that he now realises he should. And so he started becoming a little bit more personable and direct on LinkedIn. And he sent just a quick post yesterday. It was just a still post with my photo on it saying, "Thank you, Chris, for being a great client and a business partner," and blah, blah, blah. It was really simple, really quick. I think that was mid-afternoon, and he sent me a text about 5:30, 6 o'clock last night. And within that 4 hours or something, there'd already been 400 engagements with that post. And there was no paid advertising behind it. There was nothing. It was just this post on LinkedIn that one person said thank you to another person and a couple of hashtags, and straight away 400 odd people had seen this thing. So I think that sort of talks to the power of that platform in particular, given it's what I've seen, it's now sort of tending to move away from what it was originally, which was a really just a recruitment platform at some point where everyone on there was looking to employ someone or find a new job. So I think it's gone beyond that now, and I think it's going to be really powerful. So yeah.
Mind if I jump in? LinkedIn is just an absolute beast. LinkedIn, if you do nothing else in your industry, jump on LinkedIn because it is such a powerful platform. The organic reach is through the roof, as you just mentioned. And the other amazing thing about LinkedIn is that you can target your audience by location, by industry, and you can go and connect with so many people a day if you want, just by sending them a little note. Say, "Oh, I'm John, I'm Chris, by the way, this is what I do. Feel free to connect with me if you like." And that's it. But the danger is most people do that and then straight away send a message selling something. The key is to just connect with them and leave them. Don't do anything and just put out content. And then when they're ready, they'll come back to you. That's the key.
But I do wish everybody a happy birthday every single day.
Yeah,
that's the one thing that I do. So, every morning I pull up my phone, go on LinkedIn, wish every single person a happy birthday. His birthday is that day. It's the easiest, it's the most unintrusive way to message every single person and keep in contact with every person in my network on LinkedIn. Look, great stuff, Chris. And that particular post, I saw it, I liked it, I commented. I know exactly the post you're talking about. Just on that, if anyone on this Zoom, you've got permission to tag me in any single post on LinkedIn, and I'll come and like your post. So just if you want to get more reach, if you want to get more engagement, just in your comments, just tag me. I'll like your post. If something's really great, I'll share it as well. Jay just asked a quick question: should we strip the arms? And after that, Michael talked about joining Toastmasters. Funny combination there, because Toastmasters will tell you not to use arm, and it will actually count your arms. Where I've seen some research recently that said that using arm or pausing while speaking is actually a great way to test for engagement or to create anticipation of what you're about to say. So if I go, this is what I'm about to say, I've got everyone's attention. So sometimes arms are actually good. It's not always as that bad, although don't say that to Toastmasters. But I agree, Toastmasters, great organization to get confident in with your public speaking. Look, we're out of time. This has been fantastic. I really have appreciated everyone's contributions. I know I didn't get to everyone, and look, if your cameras were off, I kind of didn't pick on you because I assumed that maybe you didn't want to be picked on. But Jamal, Jay, Daxa, Salib, John, Chris, and Fabian, look, I'm so glad you could join us. Thank you so much. I will put together something, but especially with some of the goal that's in the comments, some of those websites, and I'll make sure I'll send that out to everybody as well, so you've got a copy of that. Well, thank you so much. Don't waste this opportunity. If there's somebody on this Zoom that you want to connect with, go find them on social media, connect with them, build your network, build your friendships. There's some absolute amazing people in this room. Make sure you connect with them. So, some of you locals, I'm looking at yourself, Jennifer and Lauren. You should grab a coffee sometime. You're not that far from each other, and you're allowed to go out for coffee where we're not. So take that advantage. I hate you for it, but enjoy it. And all those guys who are from Nectar Broker Brands, I appreciate you guys jumping on. I hope you were able to get some value out of this as well. Darren, thanks for jumping on. Bud, Michael, Greg, it's good to see you again, mate. Darren and Greg need to connect over podcasts. Just putting that out there. So yeah, sure. Greg's been playing around in that space, and him and a colleague of his, and I've seen some of Darren's stuff, and it's fantastic. Greg, you need to connect with him. Yeah, and look, as I said, I'm just endorsing Bud around the car stuff. I've used Bud for all my car leases for a number of years now. I know he does other stuff as well. If you're looking at someone even to refer to or know a little bit more about what works and doesn't work, Bud is brilliant in that space. So